Gotta approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Agenda's approved. Approve the minutes.
Did you see anything, Tracy? I didn't.
Yeah, he wants to approve the minutes. I didn't see anything wrong.
No, I didn't either.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Minutes are approved. Abatement for tax of parcel number 240-88575.
That's the one you guys tabled last week. If you recall, I sent you an email on that, the taxes were paid in full. And, you know, when they didn't take ownership till April 24th or something. So what are your thoughts on that?
So they're paid till,
They're paid up in full.
paid up full. So what do
They
they
must
need
have
to
done
pay
it in
it?
their, I don't know, they must have just wanted their money back on it, thinking, because they're a church. So they're, will be exempt for next year.
Right,
But current year, it was based on the prior year's value.
right. The taxes should have been paid up
And they
when
are.
the transfer
So,
was.
but they had asked to come, ask if you would do something about it, so.
But if we forgive them, we're forgiving technically somebody else's taxes, correct?
Act ones.
It was Act One's taxes. Act One would have abated, would have paid them up to the date of possession. The church should not have a refund,
Right.
because from the date they took over, they would be exempt.
Right.
So even if you prorated April 24th, it would be, yeah, so. So I don't, you guys tabled it, so that's why it was back on.
Well, they were asking for somebody was asking basically give back, weren't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
a refund.
So, but they already should have received that in their settlement.
Yes, yep, and Melinda did talk to that county title who did the closing.
That's what it was, is that correct?
Yes, yep,
That's, I thought I saw an email, so.
yep, I sent it last week.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So there really isn't anything we need to do or can do.
You know,
And so basically we would deny it, correct?
right. We deny it, right?
So do we need a motion to deny that?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Those taxes are denied.
Do you, I don't know how long, Myron will take too long probably, right? Like, I mean, or do you wanna, I know we have Wayne Gibney, is he here too?
I'm here.
Wayne, hi Wayne. Rick.
Yeah,
Or do you wanna wait till
Yeah,
after?
but we got Wayne Gibney here too.
Okay.
Doesn't matter, might be smarter to wait. I don't know.
Okay, maybe we should wait
We're gonna
then.
wait on that?
Okay,
How
Yeah.
about bid and limit? That'll
Yep.
take a minute to, they're right in there.
The courthouse lawn is actually courthouse, is that correct?
Correct.
yes.
Did it get corrected?
This is the same form we've used always. So what she did is she went back in and added that they would like to have Santa greet children and their families inside the courthouse after the parade.
Sure.
And usually it's Lexa or myself or Melinda who lets them in and we make sure it's locked up and stuff after.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
I'll make a motion, go ahead and, let them have the courthouse. Bid and limited.
So I'll second your motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Just sign there. And then here's the law.
Motion carries.
This is that law enforcement contract.
well, discuss that, road treatment on 74th Street.
Well, do you wanna do the law contract?
Do the law contract, right on there, by the area.
Law enforcement contract with the city of Lewiston.
Same contract as last year.
What's that?
Same hours and same rate as last year.
Same as last year.
Which
Same as last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe they're 10 hours a week and it's $32.50 an hour.
Thank you. So what do you want to do with it?
I'll make a motion to okay the law contract in Burstown.
As long as it's the same as last year, I will second that.
Did he sign that back side?
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let me check. That's it.
Yeah.
Aye.
And sign the back of that contract.
Motion carries.
Is Myron coming in today?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, good.
We got pretty well full house.
Okay.
So, which one you want to do next?
I'll do Ron's.
Okay.
What do you mean?
We're gonna do Ron, number 8.
Ron Reagan is a new employee at Secondary Roads, hired April 1st, so today is 6 months. Pay increase due, according to the union contract. So he would go from $27.70 an hour to $28.23 effective today, and his labor grade classification would change from a 5A to a 5B. Ron was hired as equipment operator in Benton, but has been running the water grid district in Van Horn since Rick left in May.
Okay, make a motion to approve the wage increase for Ron Reagan.
I would second your motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 I had to do it, I had to do it. Hey, are your girls gonna decorate your door again this year? What are they gonna do this year?
Myron, since we're moving quite along, why don't we get into this with Wayne? I don't think it'll take too long. Okay.
Road treatment on 74th Street, Atkins. Wayne.
We have talked, I think, previously with you about treating the section on 74th Street, right off of 201, whatever you want to call that now, for the 3 residents that we live right in the road. And I think we have talked about it, and we've all decided that we would like to proceed with that if we could. We have talked to Myron.
Wayne's talked to myself a couple times, and he's talked to his neighbors. I had told him to put a macadam stone base down. There's a 1,200-foot section from 201 east that they currently treat with dust control, that they were looking at doing seal coat treatment in surface instead. That 1,200 feet with macadam base down, rock on top of it, and then seal coating it with 2 seal coats on top. I estimated $58,500. That number has been expressed to Wayne and his neighbors, and they were interested in pursuing that improvement like we have done with the special assessment on other ones, that after the project's completed, the county funds the project, pays for half of it, they pay for half of it with the option of paying their share up front on, year 1, or doing it, you've done 5 years on all of the past projects, you set the interest rate, and then with that interest rate, that 5 equal payments is figured out that they would pay in September at tax time for 5 years.
think, I would just soon pay up and get it done with. I don't know, I think Rex wants to. Pat, would you do that too or not? So we're all in agreement that we would pay at one time the first and get it done with, and completed.
Did you hear all this, Rick?
Kind of, what is it, $8,500 for the total project, about 1,200 feet?
1,200 feet, 58,500.
58,500.
Correct.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
Half.
and then it'd be a 50/50 deal?
correct.
Okay,
And all three of the,
property owners?
yes, they're willing to, pay their half up front right away.
Okay, yeah. Well, we've always done it for other people, I don't know why we wouldn't.
Say
do it.
whether they still choose to do that when the project's done, I think the process still has to be done the same, so they would still be given that option when the project's done to pay their share all at one time or over installments. But regardless, the process to move forward with that special assessment and doing 50/50 would work the same way.
Happen this fall yet?
Probably not. I might do the rock, but the seal coating aspect, we've cleaned up our distributor and put it away for the season, so we'd probably do it during dust control application in the spring, early summer.
If you did just the rock, would that would eliminate what we have down right now
Yeah.
though? Could we wait with that until we're gonna do it all so that it is dusty out there? And do it at one time so that it's a completed project and that we don't tear up what we've got, the coating down there right now?
I mean, I would prefer doing the seal coat in the middle of the summer or the spring anyway. I don't really like seal coating all that much in the fall. Just because today's more like a fall temp day, but normally the hot summer sun is a benefit to long-term
To seal it up and everything?
for the seal coat material.
Do you agree with that, Rex, what I'm saying?
Sounds good, yeah.
Pat, you agree with that? Okay.
Makes sense.
That's what we'd like to do if we could then, just leave it as it is until we're gonna do it all at once. That way we've got a seal down and a coating down on it right now to prevent the dust.
And we come back to the board with a petition, contract, and waiver, right? Okay, for board action.
How about this? I'd hate to put it in stone and something happens to one of you three. And then whoever comes in and buys that property of whoever happens to sell for any reason, they'd be stuck with this. Can we agree on this right now, but we'll act on it officially next spring? You see kind of where I'm coming from?
I see what you're saying. Myself, I'm looking at maybe trying to get my section paid off this year. if I
Oh,
could,
okay.
Is what I'm saying. And making sure that the contract is signed with you. I don't know about Pat and Rex here. That would be up to them, but I would just as soon get my section covered on it this year. What do you think about it, Rex?
Doesn't make any difference to me either way, I guess. I mean, we could do it this fall, pay for it now.
What's the chances of things going up in the interim if we wait that long too? Nobody knows?
Nobody knows. I mean, the seal coat product itself hasn't moved much. It actually came down a little this year from last year. That's hard to say, I guess, where that product itself are gonna cost. I do know the, material at Quarry has done nothing but increase each year. It's increased significantly the last 2 years in a row. I'm hoping that, the upcoming year is gonna be a minimal increase, but I know it was, I think, 10% the first of the year from the year before, and Last year, I think we had 2 increases, one in January and one in July, from the quarries. But it is only, 1,200 feet, that still impacts things, but it's not a real lengthy, large cost project. I would like to think it would still stay fairly close, Wayne.
Okay? Again, like I said, I just didn't get it paid off in this year for my reasons. And Pat and Rex can do whatever they would choose to do on it. But Rex doesn't sound like it makes any difference, and Pat, it doesn't make any difference. So if we just get it done this year, and that way it's in the interim and we know that it's on the agenda to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with that.
Well, then I'll make a motion to go ahead and,
We don't have an action on it.
we don't
though.
have it?
Because usually you would do like the petition waiver. He was just coming to discuss.
Okay. Then well, I guess we'll do a petition waiver, so.
Contract. So we'll
It'll
present.
be a contract then, basically, with
Yep, yep.
Secretary Road.
Secretary.
Myron and I will draft it up because we'll put your names and residence and then we'll put the amount and stuff in there.
Okay,
And we refer to the code sections, et cetera.
and then as long as we get that covered this year. Or is there a time length on it? This year, within this year is what I'm saying. We could probably wait till December if we wanted to then, since nothing's gonna take place, Myron, till next year. Okay.
Just a quick question, Myron, what happens if costs go up? These guys have already locked into a contract. Does the county eat the rest?
Let's make that contract,
Technically, yes, Dick.
yeah.
Okay. Just
Because if
making
it
sure
goes
we're
down,
sticky with something else.
they would get a refund portion of it.
As Rick was saying, I think the opposite could happen, I
Go down.
may have slightly overestimated the cost, and when it's all said and done, would the county turn around and offer a mild refund back to the property owners,
I just didn't know, I didn't want them to get a surprise next year and say, oh, it went up. Because of all these storms and everything that have happened, we don't know what products are gonna be where. No clue.
Good enough?
Yes.
Good?
Okay,
I'm good.
That's fine. Okay.
so they'll come back when it's an action item.
No,
No?
they won't have to.
No, it'll
They're
just be
gonna
a
make
board
a
action.
contract
We're done,
between
yes.
secondary roads and the free property
Okay,
owner.
very good. All right,
Okay?
sounds good to me.
Now we got Matt Evans up next there, Rick.
Yep. 9:15, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chad Albert is requesting change use of approximately 1 acre of land to allow for a mobile home. This site is located approximately 6 miles south-southeast of Vinton, in section 27 of Eden Township. This site is located on a 5.42 acre parcel that is owned by the applicant. This entire parcel is considered high-quality farmland, as the area of this request has a corn stability rating of 87. However, this parcel has not been agricultural production since at least the 1930s. An existing driveway will be used to access this property. 26th Avenue, County Rock Road has an annual average daily traffic count of 15 vehicles. A private sewage disposal system will need to be installed to serve this new dwelling. And there's an existing private water well that was drilled in 1970 that the applicant plans to use. In this site, it's surrounded by row crops on all sides. And 3 notices were sent out to adjacent property owners, and legal notices were published in the official newspapers of Benton County, as required by the ordinance. Our office did not receive any comments regarding this request. This proposal, it is located on site with a higher corn stability rating, but it has not been agricultural production for many years. Furthermore, there had been a dwelling at the site, but it has since been removed. And it's been removed for more than 3 years, and that's why the land use change is required. This proposal should not have any negative impacts on surrounding farm operations.
Nice seeing you again.
Same thing. Have a good day. You too.
You guys looking it over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I think it was sent out to us.
It was.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'll make a motion to, grant the request for the land use for Chad Albert.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Next, we got speed limit on 64. You want to talk about it a little bit?
You bet. Well,
You want to come up to the center? Sure. Excuse me?
Sure.
So everybody here.
Yep. So Rick Grimm is who I am. Live on 64th Street, just outside of Shellsburg. Kitty corner from the county shed there, okay, as you come out of town. This is Tim Meyer.
Live at 3148 64th Street, which is just right next to where the new development is going in by Peacock's development there.
So the concern is when people leave town, okay, the speed limit is 25 to pretty much right at Tim's driveway, okay, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Lori and Chris Mott are next, and they're in city limits, okay? But what happens, people hit these railroad tracks, it's the Indianapolis 500. I mean, because they can see for 2.5 miles, okay, and it's flat as a whistle. So you've got a set of railroad tracks, you've got a new development entrance, you've got a driveway with Tim, you got Mott's driveway, my driveway, and a very busy road coming from that cemetery. You guys wouldn't believe the traffic comes off that road. It's unbelievable, okay? And then the bridge is right there. So our concern is we want to get traffic slowed down. Every other way in and out of Shellsburg, the traffic gets slowed down, 35, and then it goes down to 25. Here, it's 55, 25, 25, 55. And I don't know how many times, I mean, before I lived where I lived, Irene Beatty got creamed there and, trying to turn into my driveway where I currently live. Several times, family members, myself, same thing. Because you can have your turn signal on when you're coming out of town, but these people just put it to the wood and they can be 2 vehicles back and they'll try to pass all 3. Well, there's no way they can see that you're turning. And it's a matter of time before someone gets seriously injured or killed. And so there's the kind of the passing zones that are there are kind of as well messed up when you're coming in because they do have a no passing coming in towards the railroad tracks. My kind of proposal is, and that's why we're here to talk about it, I'd like to see a no passing zone from those railroad tracks clear past that bridge, for one. That way to eliminate all the passing period that's going on there. Secondly, we could get that speed limit dropped down. Say you went to a 35 somewhere west of the bridge, just dropped it down to 35. Right where my property ends going to town and Mott's, which is considered city, you could still drop it down to 25. And the same thing coming out. You could go 25 till you're out of city, past Tim's, past Mott's, pick it up to 35, then let them have their 55. You're talking probably a matter of, what would it be? 15 seconds maybe? It would take out a whole 15 seconds, probably, I'm just guesstimating here, to save a life. And I just think something really needs to be looked at there. And, that's why I'm here talking to you about it. Because it's gonna happen. I mean, heavily traveled road, everywhere in and out. We're talking truck traffic, we're talking, motorcycle, I mean, everything.
And I've lived there 26 years, and the buses, when they come out of town, they're starting to build up speed, and cars are just flying by them as they're going out of town by our place. I mean, they're going at least 55 before they even get to my place and zipping around those buses. And I know you can have patrol there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I think if we get people acclimated to a slower speed and that they have to stay slower for a longer period of time. I've seen so many times where people are making a left-hand turn and have to stop because somebody decided to pass them. I had to almost go into my ditch one day because I was pulling out and there was traffic going to the west, I was going east, and a car decided to pass this car that was slower in front of them. And I had to pull off the road, otherwise we'd had a head-on. I mean, it's, like Rick says, they just take off like a bat out of hell when they get to those railroad tracks. Now, we can change the speed limit. I know some people will still do that because like Rick says, you can see for 2.5 miles. It's like a nice drag strip. And, but I'm just worried, and now with the new development there and that new road that's coming out there, plus, I don't know if you've looked at the plots that they have there, there's 3 lots that are right next to my place going east into town. Those 3 lots have to have a frontage road to get to those lots when they build those houses. So that's another lane that's gonna be right there. So you're gonna have the railroad tracks, the first lane going in, then that lane, my lane, Mott's lane, Rick's lane, just all within 0.2 of a mile. Might even be less than that. And some people, like say, we won't catch them all, but a lot more people will slow down if they can't go 55 until they get past the rate, at least past the bridge.
And I think a lot of it too is, like say, we get that speed limit drop down, but I really think it would help if they, extended that no passing zone through there, because then they can't pass. Or they're, if the cops are sitting there, which they do sit at the county shed a lot, but they're gonna get ticketed. They're gonna know better. Word's gonna get out, and they're gonna get it slowed down where it needs to be. It's totally out of control. And there's so much going on out there, unless you live there and you see it, you don't quite understand the risks that are involved there until we come and explain it to you. So, like I said, and even when people are coming, I've seen a person come in, an older couple, go into the cemetery, and a guy wasn't paying attention, and those folks were gonna turn left, and he went clear down that steep ditch by my hayfield and popped back up on the highway on the right. There's just too much speed there, there's too much going on with that bridge, that gravel road, and then of course as much dust is on that gravel right now especially, just hangs in the air there, so the visibility's down. And, then like I say, you've got a ton of traffic coming off that road, so there's people constantly turning there too, so you've got a lot going on when people are passing, people are turning, people are coming. And if that speed's down, at least people are gonna stand a chance and be a little safer. Like I say, it's a matter of time someone's gonna get hurt. So, we can talk about it all day long amongst ourselves. I did talk with Chris and Lori Mott last night about this. Of course, they're in the fields, beaning, and so they couldn't be here. But Lori wanted me to express that her and Chris are 100% behind this as well. That they agree that there's, a severe problem out there. So we're just asking them if we can get it changed. And I don't know, those are the exact spots. I'm just using an example here that in my mind from living there, and seeing it all the time, well, would make sense to me. I mean, we're not, trying to take everybody's candy away from them, but, let's just be reasonable.
So exactly how far do you want that, no passing zone extended?
Well, they pass on that bridge. That bridge isn't a super wide bridge either. Where it's not super wide. But they'll pass right on that bridge as well. I mean, they come cooking. It doesn't matter both ways too, because sometimes people are slowing down to come into town, they'll pass them coming into town. It's both directions, but in my opinion, I think there's so much going on right there from that bridge in, that I think if you could get them slowed down, like say the gravel road where Scott Beatty, the next one to the west there, if you put the sign out there saying, hey, we're gonna drop, speed limits coming to 35. That gives them an opportunity that they know the speed limit's coming to change. Then drop it to 35 at the bridge. And then you got from the bridge, past the county shed, past my place to the east, and that's right where city limits, and that's where you could go to 25. Same thing coming out. You can take 25, out to where my property starts, increase it to the 35 until the other side of the bridge, and then turn at 55. And then all those turns come out of play then. I mean, not totally, but it'd be a lot safer.
What do you think?
In order to change the speed limit, you'd have to have an engineering study, traffic study done by code. That's just the way the code reads. Ron and I were just talking about that briefly. I know one was done, I think there many, many years ago. You live there, so I'm not going to dispute, but I'm pretty sure that it actually does do 35 to 25. I know that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign got damaged during the derecho. I thought we put it back up.
No, there's
just
never
west
been
of
a
the railroad tracks.
I'm sorry, there's never been a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit during the 26 years I've been there.
No.
Coming east to come from the west to.
And if you did a study,
But
do the study, I mean, that gravel road, yeah, it'll blow you away the amount of traffic that comes on that highway. It's unreal.
But, I know the DOT is who we have used to do traffic studies. We've had studies done approaching, leaving the towns in the county and have changed those speed limits, and certainly this area could be re-reviewed and see what the DOT's speed study. There's no an impartial body, looking at it. I would say they take into the speed of the study looks at the intersections, the traffic coming off of side roads, the number of driveways, number of side roads, and the speed of the vehicles driving through those areas. There is a subconscious part of drivers that drive at a speed based on how things are around them. Granted, I don't disagree with what Rick was saying, that when there's a difference between people leaving town and people entering town. It seems like as they reach the city limits and are leaving, if you can see, they tend to quickly speed up.
Yeah, and that's just, like I say, it's like somebody drops a checkered flag at those railroad tracks. I mean, literally, as soon as they get over that boom, boom, you can just hear it. It's on.
What about yellow lines, or is there any? Yellow lines could be determined by us, and I can look at that. Coincidentally, I'm planning on having that road repainted. I'm meeting with the traffic marking contractor this afternoon, and he's planning on getting started in the county this week. So the no passing line could be probably something I'd like to look at it. I know exactly what we're talking. I'm just kind of curious in my head what that distance is. I know there's a standard that the DOT produces that recommends a no passing line approaching a railroad crossing and then after you cross the railroad crossing, going the other way, which is what you see out there right now.
Yeah.
But
Yep. And I agree with that. I mean, that's what's there, because I took a look at that.
I know some years back, and we've left it that way, there's a large farming operation between Keystone and Van Horn that has a lot of turning traffic with school traffic down there. That farmer and helpers have always had problems with the same situation. You've got turning traffic and then vehicles that want to pass, and you're trying to make a left turn and you can't because of passing vehicles, that in a passing lane has been extended in that area for, I would say, a similar, scenario. But the pavement markings would be something the county could decide. The speed limit really, by code, says you need to do a traffic and engineering study before you make any speed limit changes.
I would recommend that for sure, and then if you can do something with the passing zone right away as an immediate, hopefully deterrent. I mean, it's not gonna stop everybody from passing, but if you put a new passing lane out there, and new passing, and it goes out to at least the bridge, that would be beneficial. But definitely need to do the DOT study. Now, will they take into account the new subdevelopment or the new development that's going in there when they do that?
As time goes, that'll increase.
Right, exactly. And that's, like I say, that's the whole purpose we're here, because like I say, this has been going on for quite a while. We've talked about it, and we've talked to Tracy about
It's
it.
only gonna get worse.
And yeah, it's a continued problem. And I think it's foolish of us not to look at that, like I say, before someone does get hurt. And I don't care if it's, as heavily traffic goes on that gravel road, someone getting rear-ended or something like that. I mean, there's been so many close calls out there. And I think we're foolish if we don't come up with the best we can in the end.
And we have Schminke's move in some equipment for people to look at there too.
Yep, he's got stuff there on.
That's gonna increase our turning also.
So there's just a ton going on there between the railroad tracks. You've got Schmeekes, you've got Tim's, you've got Mott's, you've got ours, you've got the county road and new development and bridge. I mean, it's just a, and we're right at the edge of town there. And like I say, I agree 100% with you. When people see, and they can see 2.5 miles, nothing but flat, it's game on. And at least then the officers too that are patrolling it, have a leg to stand on too, because, they can actually do something with these people. And word's gonna get out. I mean, it's like anything, when they know it's being patrolled and it's marked properly, hopefully we can eliminate this. You're always gonna have a couple of people that are just, don't have their heads on. But if we can take care of that 95%, we've done good. And that's what I'm here asking.
Yeah. I just have a quick question for Myron. I was curious, does traffic count come into play when they do this study? Because you guys are all talking about, both sides are all talking about a lot more traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do a traffic count in this study? When they do the study, the engineering study?
They usually set during time interval, set time, meaning they'll count cars while they're doing that also. I mean, so it doesn't change the traffic count map that's generated, but traffic count is used as part of the engineering analysis for the speed limit recommendations.
Well, I was thinking, do they do that like on a weekly? Well, they'll just do it for a week? Because you got people probably traveling to go to work other places. So your traffic counts on certain days, if you take a traffic count, are gonna be way different than other days. So.
It's very busy
Yeah, that's
all
what
the
I'm
time. But I mean, even if you go to the other sides of town and you look, I mean, you go straight east out of town, that's 35 all the way out there to that T. And I think actually even if you
It
turn
goes
that,
all the way to Benton County line.
yeah, you clear off the Glen Benton line.
I saw
And,
you
and
on that.
there's, now that's increased traffic as well because they, all that's finished now going towards Palo. And a lot of people use that back way to go to Palo. But still, they've got the speed limit down there where it belongs. And I just, I think this hasn't been reviewed or looked at, and I think there's a lot that can be done out here.
I think Myron's gonna check on painting now this afternoon. If we can do, or he can do the double lines, that can get done.
I would appreciate that. I mean, I think that's a great start.
And then, I don't know, you thought there was a 35 and the derecho took it down?
Yeah, I thought we put it back up, maybe we put it 25 up, and maybe it's always been 25.
It's
I
always-
can
it
stand
is
corrected,
always
but
been.
I was positive there was a 35-mile-an-hour zone,
If there is,
short
there's some,
distance west of the tracks, going into town. But
Can we put a
Get
30,
checked out.
can we put a 35 in without doing the study? And then still do the study? Or is that a,
Well, if I'm thinking right and we did do a study, I'd have that on file in my office.
okay,
And if that was the case, it would say what the speed limit was. It probably
Okay.
wasn't very far out of town if it was, but if it doesn't, then no, we would need to wait till the study's done to post anything different.
I hope it's there, because there has not been a
Well-
35-mile-an-hour sign in 20 years.
Well, then I'd be curious too on how old would that study be as compared to current date? Because, you know.
I'm sure it's dated, Rick. but-
Yeah, I understand that, that's what I'm saying, but how back, that's my concern, you know, because we're talking today, we're not talking,
20 years ago, or 15 years ago.
right, we're talking the traffic today. And, you know, like I say, I just think we need to do this right, do it as aggressively as we can. And, you know, like I say, I
well, let Myron look at his debt or
Yeah.
filing cabinet and see when that was done, so we can visit that issue on the speed limit.
mhm,
Sounds like to me that he's willing to do the double painted line, no passing zone right now.
mhm, which I think would be a fantastic start.
That's a start at some of your.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that'll help a ton if it's recognized by people, you know, knowing that, hey, we can't pass through here, period. And then if they, you know, the law's sitting out there, they're gonna catch them and it's gonna get out quick.
Yep.
I mean,
Great.
I think that's wonderful. If you guys are willing to do that, I'd appreciate it.
All right, let him, ball's in his court now.
Okay,
Let him do some checking.
all right.
Makes sense.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you for your time, appreciate it.
And I've checked that and see if there is a 35 on that. There hasn't been a 35-mile-an-hour sign.
I know there was a post and a sign west of the tracks.
Oh, there's mine, like,
Well,
there's
and,
25.
well, backing up real quick, but what about the 25 though? It makes no sense when lots are clear out.
Got anything, Rick?
I do. Last week I had two of them, and they went back to back. Actually, the Iowa Workforce Development overlapped onto my Central Iowa detention, so I got a couple hours in on Central Iowa, but then I had to switch over to the Workforce Development, so they had a quorum. One thing I'd state is that we've got some old invoices out there, quite a chunk of change with Central Iowa. I think it's close to 48,000 that we owe.
Yes, and I'm including that in the budget amendment at the hearing, so.
She's including that in the budget.
Which will be on the 15th, that'll be good.
But like I've said before, we voiced our concerns on some of those invoices. So we do our checks and balances on those before we just go and pay them right now. We have
Sure.
Ray
Yep,
and
that
Luke
makes
both
sense.
look at them.
Thank you, Amy.
Yep,
And workforce development, well, as you've seen, we got a resignation of the department or the director there. And so we're kind of reformulating, if you will, reorganizing. So, yeah, work in progress. So that's what I had for reports. How about you guys?
We didn't have, we had a meeting, but, it was a retreat for the board, so there wasn't any business.
Sure.
Casey, we had ARPA. We had an ARPA meeting.
I had an ARPA meeting last week. I also had East Central Housing meeting, Cedar Rapids, Easy Cog, right along with it. Last night I also, sat in on the conservation at Atkins. They had met with the local residents over the tree canopy on the roundhouse and what they're gonna do. There was about 30 citizens showed up for that meeting. I think it was an informal meeting. They kinda found out what was gonna happen and what's gonna take place. But since I had to attend that one, I missed the EMA meeting last night. Ron, you can maybe say something on that.
EMA meeting, the biggest thing we talked about was, they had worked on budget for next year. I believe the total budget goes down, but there's a couple line item increases, moving things around. Then, of course, the full-time salary position went down because we don't have, an intern starting and then went to full-time, so everything looked good there.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay.
Is there any other business?
I'm gonna give you guys all copies of the ARPA spreadsheets I created. Tracy got one last week, but you and Rick can have it, because next week we're gonna come back to the board with our recommendations.
And you're gonna have
A presentation.
a presentation from the sheriff's department.
Yep,
That's
for one of their projects that our ARPA committee
Yeah,
approved.
so hope you'll be back, won't you, Rick?
Well, good Lord willing,
Okay.
that's my plans.
Okay. All righty.
Okay.
You got a comment?
I just had a couple of quick things. Ron, how many calls did we have to Urbana just last week, or have you been keeping track? None?
We could, I mean, I could ask for it and it could be pulled.
I was just curious
But I
where
have
that's
not.
at, because I asked 2 weeks ago about what the police department's going on, and nobody had any answers. So you still don't, so I don't know how long this is gonna go on, and like we had talked, you said it was only 12 hours a week,
Yeah.
and that's, to me, that's less than 2 hours a day, in a town that's right next to the interstate. It's almost kind of scary that they don't have a little more
That's
coverage.
Doug speaking, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, I spoke to the mayor over there, Gary, and everything was up in the air the last time I spoke to him. He didn't have any answers. So, it wouldn't hurt if the sheriff can hear me, maybe reach out to the mayor and ask what's going on.
I can do that.
Thank you.
thanks.
That it?
The clock tower, I don't know how long or whatever, people were talking about it, and there were some people that made some donations to that, and there were some comments made a couple weeks ago. And I don't know if you did the research or not to find out. I know Clearback, it was mentioned in January, but the big discussion here was about it. And I haven't really heard much sense about the hands and everything to somebody, but it was the end of November,
December.
in December,
Sometime
okay.
in December, the guy's
Sometime in
coming.
December.
Yes, and then as the little bit of electrical that needs to be done is just minute, that, our maintenance department, it was on top of it, and they got, I believe it's Elwick lined up as electrician, so he can work with the clock guy when they're installing it to wire it right in, right away.
Okay.
And so far we paid 19,500 when they come and took it, and then when it's all done, we'll pay that same amount.
Okay.
At least, that was our estimate.
Okay.
They have had some, part of the clock they had to redo, because it's supposed to be in brass and it was done in steel.
I think I remember that. That was clear back in January, that was discussed. That they had to remake some parts for it.
Yeah, and the gentleman shared pictures with us just recently, so,
Oh, okay.
on what he was working on.
Well, that's good. Well, that way, if anybody says anything, I've got, people want to wreck the bus stuff, but they don't want to come here and ask you.
Yeah, well, some of the parts he had to manipulate,
Make.
hand make
Oh, yeah.
himself, so that's why it's so time consuming.
And then Ray was gonna send him an email last week.
I might have been the one, because the guy sent us pictures.
I thought he was gonna do it again, because the question was, is he gonna stay firm on his bill?
Oh, that's right, yeah. I haven't seen that update, but
Yeah, I haven't either. He's been a little bit busy, Ray.
Oh, boy. And the only other one was, where are we at on the lights? I know it's been a couple of weeks, but on the Blairstown corner, Blairstown Van Horn corner, is there any movement at all on that?
I talked to REC last week. They supply the power at the Blairstown Van Horn intersection. They were gonna go down to figure out how many poles they would have to install. They referenced the light there at Thompson's Flats, as you called it, to the east. That is a 70-watt light, I think he told me. They make a 100-watt light. I proposed a 100-watt light for REC to run to that northeast corner to light that up. I haven't heard back from REC as to how many poles there would be and what the cost would be to secondary roads to install that, but REC is working on that right now.
Thanks.
Okay. One thing now, the poles, like Gary said, are gone, where I say Thompson's Flat. But the poles are still in over there east of the Luzerne corner where the switchover used to be. They got the medium taken out where the switchover was. But them poles are still there yet, and them lights were on Saturday night when I went by.
Well, REC does the power at the Blairstown Van Horn corner. All of the intersections west of there to 21 are under Alliance service.
Same way, I just thought, they're done with them poles and lights, maybe we can switch them and move them. But, you know, I don't know who owns them poles and the lights, is it the state?
I know that a light like you're talking about was put on all of the other 3 intersections at one time. I don't know if they're aimed and still working, but Alliance had put lights up at those intersections when Highway 30 was being worked.
Keystone corner and Luzerne corner, they both had them big lights on the north side of 30 shining to the intersection. I seen that Saturday night. Where we're at, he's working on it, so.
Okay, thanks.
One of the other things that I noticed is, at the Blairstown corner anyway, it'd be nice if there was those flashing lights, say stop ahead and then at the stop sign. Or, I don't know, it'd be like north of Newhall there at the curve. I'd like to see those lights all the way. I'd like to see them at Luzerne, Keystone, and Belle Plaine, all the intersections in Benton County along Highway 30. But I don't know if we can do that, or I don't think it takes I think they're all solar. I'm not sure.
The ones at Newhall are solar. The flashing lights that were part of an Iowa State study at the Van Horn Blairstown corner, I think were powered, that were taken out with the project. I don't know whatever became of those lights, because I thought the university was donating them to the DOT, and the DOT was talking about donating them to Benton County, but I don't know whatever happened to those lights.
Kinda like the camera on the tower, right, Ron?
Yeah.
All right, nobody else on here, folks?
Nope, I gotta have you guys initial
writes it
this,
down. Nobody takes
claim
notes.
register from last week, since we deleted that one out.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's the only other thing I got.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second that. Thank you, guys.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
We are adjourned.